Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old Digital. I'm David Rodriguez, and today I'm going to be unboxing the Epic Batocera Retropie. This is from Retro Gaming Haven. So let me get into this box. I'm not sure if it has packaging of its own, which is why you're not seeing a pretty box right now. So let me get into this and we'll see what we have in here. Okay, so yeah, it looks like everything's just nicely wrapped, but it's not like, it doesn't have like a Retro Gaming Haven like special box or something. I kind of didn't think it would, but now we know for sure. So if you're not familiar with this, it's basically a mini PC. So it is a powerful hunk of hardware. It can run Windows if you want it to, which is cool. It is on there, but I'm likely to spend a lot more time in the gaming area because I intend to use it more as a video game system. Now, this sucker is not cheap. It costs about $550 from the Retro Gaming Haven website. You can get it on Amazon, which is what I did. It costs about $20 more if you do it that way. But I had a bunch of gift cards saved up on Amazon, so it ended up being cheaper out of pocket. So well worth it. So this system, it's made in the US. It has an Intel N95 processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive that is supposed that according to them is filled to the gills. It has an HDMI cable and has some controllers with it. It boasts 170,000 plus games over 70 consoles and arcades. So that's crazy. I mean, granted, this goes way back to even Atari and that sort of stuff. So that's why they could fit that many games on a 1 terabyte drive, because a lot of them are not going to take up much space at all. But let's get into this. Let's see what we have here, because I've been dying to get this. I've been tracking like a loon. So we have a couple wired controllers. I do think you can get them wireless, but that's not what I did. So as you can see, it looks a lot like a PlayStation DualShock controller. A select, start, analog button, has the sticks. It actually feels pretty nice. I was a little worried that this might feel like maybe kind of a little bit chintzy, but it actually feels pretty good. And I like that it feels so much like a PlayStation controller, because I'm very familiar with it. This is by Uilaus Retro Gaming. That's the company that makes the controller. I'm not familiar with that, but I'm kind of new in this retro gaming space. Maybe they do a ton of stuff. I'm not sure. So this should just be another of the same thing. I'm actually going to unravel this the wire for it, just so I can get an idea of how long this is. I'm hoping that they're fairly long. When you get them on Amazon, you can't really choose whether to do wired or wireless, so that's why I have this. Yeah, not too bad. I'd say, I mean, you're not able to see it. I'd say it's about 6, maybe 5 feet. I'm not sure. Right about there. Just by eyeballing it. I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. All right, let's see what this is. Oh, cool. How about that? Oh, wow. They're actually, okay. There actually is another controller in here. This one looks more like maybe a PlayStation 4 controller. Has that center button. This has some cool retro game art on here. You have Mario, I believe that's Croc, Sonic, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. In the background, you can kind of see Dr. Robotnik back there. So this is cool. This might actually be a wire. I mean, it has a wire, but I think that's just so you can connect it and charge it. So that's cool. It actually came with a wireless controller as well. I didn't think it would, because it only says it comes with 2, so that's great. And if I need another one, I can always get a wireless, but this is it's got everything you need to get started, which is really cool. Okay, so there actually is a nice box. I just couldn't tell from where I was at. So let's take a look. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the inside of this box. I don't think there's going to be a ton of extra things in here that we need to look at. And then I will show you what is on this actual machine. I'm not going to look at every single game because there's a bunch of them, but we'll kind of scroll through and look at some of the stuff. But I wanted you to get an idea of the hardware and how it's packed in here. So let's see. We've got a cool little thank you thing. Yeah, they're in a wireless PS4 style controller, which is awesome. Okay, cool. So if you have a wired controller plugged in, the wired one will take priority, but that's really neat. I wonder, I assume you can have them all going at the same time, which is cool, because there's going to be some games that are, multiplayer like that. There's a cool card from them, another little thank you thing, and I will link to them in the description on this video in case you want to go look them up and see what all they have, because they do have other systems that are not as big. So, you know, if that price was too steep, they have other ones that sound really great. They just didn't have, like, I wanted it to have like a lot of RAM so it could handle, you know, the bigger games without too much issue. So this is our little instruction manual, nothing too crazy. They say they're a small family business, so that's really cool. I really hope that this is going well for them. I couldn't find a review of this exact machine, but I did see a review of some of their smaller machines, and they were pretty much glowing throughout. So, you know, I think they, it looks like they make a good quality product. So I am excited to get into this. So let's see, let me get this. So we have our HDMI cable, not super long. I actually bought a longer one because the way my setup is, I'm not sure if I would have, yeah, because this is only maybe like 2 feet or so. I'm not sure exactly, but that's okay. Here's our power cable. I thought this would be a 3-prong plug. It doesn't really matter, but that's just what I thought. So, okay, cool. Got that. Okay. There's some screws. I'm not totally sure what that is for, as far as the system goes. Okay, so here's this. I don't know what you need to do. I guess if you wanted to mount it somehow, maybe that's for. I don't know. I'm totally guessing and spitballing here. I don't know what I'm talking about as far as that goes. Here's our mini PC user's manual. Oh, I see. You can. Interesting. You can actually connect it physically to your TV or monitor. I assume it needs to have certain things to do that, but. How fascinating. I don't know if I'll do that, though, because I want to be able to move it from... We finally got an upstairs TV for our room, and I want to be able to move it to the downstairs one, too, in case I want to play it on a bigger screen. Because the one upstairs is perfectly nice, and it's probably where I'll have this for the most part, but it's also pretty small. And here we go. Here we have our Retro Gaming Haven little mini PC. Got a cool sticker with their logo on it. Really like that. Okay, so we've got 3 USB ports on here. There's our power button. Over here we have a thing to do on mic. I'm actually not sure what this little thing is. There's a a space for LAN thing. There's a switch on here. I'm not sure what that is either, but I'm sure we'll figure that out. A couple HDMI slots. This is a USB 4 slot. I think I'm guessing that is maybe what the games are on. I'm not sure about that, but that would be my theory. And then here we have a VGA cable port in case you want to do that. So that's it. I mean, that's what comes in that box. So let me take you to my TV and we'll see what all's on here. Because if it's anything close to what it says, and I'm sure it probably is. I don't have any reason to doubt them. I'm sure it'll far exceed my expectations, but it's a ton. So let's check it out. All right, here we go. It's booting up. There's our Batocera screen. And then you get a cool little video at the beginning. It's a different video each time. I'm sure there's a limit to how many there are, but you get what I'm saying. Very, very cool intros on this. All right, it's loading in all the assets there. And here we go. This is our opening screen. It's just got a whole bunch of systems and whatnot side by side and collections as well. So we have arcade stuff right here, favorites. And then we get into our systems, the Amstrad GX4000. Some of these I'm not really familiar with at all, so it's kind of interesting. We have Daphne, that's your Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, that sort of thing from the arcades. I did try this out, but apparently you need, for some reason, to have a mouse and keyboard. A little bit weird because the games are just a joystick and a button, but, you know, whatever, they have to do it. Here's the MAME, some more arcade stuff. There's a lot of arcade things in here, which I don't know if it's just different boards that they are separating or what, but... So we have Ataris, the 2600, 5200, ST, and 7800. I'm not going to go into like all these systems and look at all the games. I'm going to try to stick to the more popular ones. Lynx, Jaguar. I've had a little trouble running the Jaguar games. I think because the Jaguar controller, if you haven't seen it, looks like a regular controller, but then it actually has like a number pad on it. So it has a lot more buttons than other systems. So I think it's having trouble figuring out what my controller is doing. Coleco, Amiga. Let's look at some of the Amiga stuff. There's all kinds of stuff in here. I didn't have an Amiga growing up, so this is kind of new for me, although I've seen a lot of these games. I am excited that they have the D&D Gold Box games in here. I wonder if you'll have to do the ridiculous little puzzle thing at the beginning to make sure that you didn't rip off your copy. I hope not, because I don't have those items. So It's pretty cool. All right, we have Commodore 64, CD-TV, Amiga CD32, Scum VM, I think that's computer games and television, Vectrex, MS-DOS, MSX, there's no real picture there, PC Engine, CD-ROM 2, Super Graphics. We've got the NES, and, you know, I'm not going to sit and look at all these because, I mean, there's a bajillion games on here, but, you know, I'm just scrolling through and you can see that there's an insane number of NES games here. I don't even know. I wish there was a little thing on here that told you exactly how many there are, but I don't think there is unless there's some option I haven't discovered. So when you first turn the system on, it actually has a filter on it to look more like a CRT TV, but I took that off because I just sort of like the cleaner look. Here's our Super Nintendo. One thing I did notice is that there's a lot of Japanese games in here, but many of them are actually translated. There's even some JRPGs that never made it to the US that seem to have full translations in them. So you can actually play those when, you know, you probably couldn't have before. If you notice, some of these have a little trophy next to them, and I believe those are the ones that work with the Retro Achievements site. So you can connect to that and get achievements for some of your games. We have our Nintendo 64. Lots of stuff here. We have the Super Mario 64. We have both the Legend of Zelda games, Mortal Kombat, all sorts of stuff. So, you know, tons of things here. Game Boy Color. Here, let me go back to this screen. Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS. And I believe when you do the DS, it just kind of does. I don't know if it does top by top on this or side by side. I haven't messed with these yet, but a lot of them there. I assume you wouldn't be able to work with one that required a stylus, but there's only so many of those. 3DO, if you had one of those. I had one of those. There's, you know, not a ton of good games, but there are some really good ones. Open Bar, which I think is arcade stuff. Ports, Thomas Wave, Sega Master System. I didn't have one of those, but I'm curious to try some of that out. The Mega Drive, which is, you know, the Genesis here in the US. There's all kinds of cool stuff on here. A lot of hacks. I'm going to try to find... There is Amy Rose in Sonic the Hedgehog. So they basically took the original Sonic and just replaced Sonic with Amy Rose in there. So that's kind of cool. But there's all kinds of stuff like that. I believe in here there's even some of the Mario games that someone made for the Genesis, which of course was not any kind of official release in the US or probably anywhere really. So that's pretty fun though. So we have Game Gear, the Sega CD, which, you know, I had one of those too. It wasn't, didn't do super great as far as systems go, but it did have some really great stuff on there. Like for instance, I'm pretty sure this has the Lunar games on here, which is a fantastic series. The Lunar Silver Star, it's funny because I'll show the pictures in Japan, or in Japanese, but the game itself isn't necessarily. Okay, so we have the Saturn, which is one of my favorite systems, and this also has some of the Japanese imports. So we have Dracula X, which is basically Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but you have a couple different characters you can use other than Alucard. Albert Odyssey, lots of their great games. You know, before Final Fantasy VII came out, to me, this was the system for the JRPGs because it just had so many good ones. Dragon Force, incredible strategy game. Now, even on a system with this many games, there are, of course, things that are missing. I really wish Panzer Dragoon Saga was on here, and I wish that the puzzle game Baku Baku was on here, but, you know, you can't get everything, and I imagine that it's possible to put things onto the system that I haven't messed with that yet. I'm not sure what the best way to do it would be, but I'm certain that that's possible. So we have Model 3, we have our Sega Dreamcast, lots of great stuff in here. That was a fantastic system that just, you know, didn't last very long, but, you know, what we had here was pretty great. And these games, I've only tried a couple of them, but they have run great, so pretty awesome. Naomi board, Sharp X 68000, Sinclair, Neo Geo, lots of Neo Geo games on here, which, you know, tons of fighters and shoot 'em ups, which I like both of those, but you know, tons of stuff to mess with here. I really wanted one of these as a kid, but, you know, each game costs as much as other systems cost, so I did not do that. My parents would not go for that. We have PlayStation on here. So there's hordes and hordes of PlayStation games that you can look at. Okay, so we have the Best Moves, the terrible Contra games, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, fantastic. And just a massive, massive amount of games. We have a Cowboy Bebop game, which I don't believe was released in the US, so that's interesting. I'm curious what that's like. I have no idea. And let's see, we keep going down here. Tons and tons of stuff that I'm excited to try. There's a lot of these games that I wanted to play, and I just didn't get to. When this system was out, I actually was working for GameStop, and we were allowed to check out the games and play them, you know, so we could tell customers about them. So there are a lot of games that I might not have bought that I have played, but, you know, even with that, there's still, of course, even more. So tons of them, tons of great stuff. Let's go to PS2. So not quite as many here because, you know, they're bigger games, but you got your Devil May Cry's, Final Fantasy 10 and 12. So no Final Fantasy 10-2, unfortunately, but that's okay. God of War, Grand Theft Autos. You have your Resident Evils, Silent Hill. Just lots and lots of great stuff. I love Virtua Fighter. Fantastic that that's in here. PSP games. Lots of those as well. That was a cool little system. But yeah, I mean, you can just tell, like, the lists are long. I think it's really good that they have a way to put games into your favorites because, wow, it could be a lot to look through otherwise. So we have Amiga hacks. We're getting into some collections here. Amiga hacks, arcade hacks, arcade systems. We have Batman collection, Bubble Bobble, Cartridge 64, Castlevania, Capcom, Crash Bandicoot, Doom, Fatal Fury. Here's all our Final Fantasies. Now, a lot of these are going to be things that were compiled on other systems that may have, you know, there's repeats, basically, is what I'm saying. But that's still really awesome to have them all in one place because that's, of course, a really popular series. Final Fight, Fist, that's a series I'm not even familiar with, but there's several games in there. Golden Axe International Karate, King of Fighters, Super Mario. We got Mega Drive again. I don't know what the difference is here in this compared to the other set, but for some reason they have some of these here twice, and it looks like they have different. Or I don't know if this one has anything that the other doesn't, but this doesn't have some stuff that the other did, so that's something to look at. So, and there's Mega Drive hacks as well. Metroid, Mortal Kombat, NES Classics. So these are really like your super classic NES games, which is fantastic. Kid Icarus is on there. I want to try that again. NES hacks, Pac-Man, Polygame Master. I'm not too familiar with it. Looks like it might be arcade stuff. Not sure. PlayStation Classics, kind of like the Nintendo one, Resident Evil, Ridge Racer, RoboCop, Super Famicom. So I assume these are going to be all Japanese games here. But a lot of these, again, I don't know about all. I haven't looked at all of them, but a lot of them are translated. I was looking at some of the RPGs, and I was like, well, that's great, but I probably won't be able to play the RPGs. But then when you watch the little video, they're actually translated in there, which is amazing. Like, really amazing to me. Nintendo Classic, or Super Nintendo, I should say. Super Nintendo hacks, Sonic, Space Harrier, Space Invader, Street Fighter. Lots of Street Fighter. If you love Street Fighter, you can try every version of it just about here. So that's amazing. Tekken, TurboGrafx, Tomb Raider, Turrican, Wipeout, Zelda, and we're back to where we started. So that is kind of everything that's on here. There are filters that you can mess with. Like I said, I took off the one that it comes with, and you can also, you know, add collections if you want to. I don't know how you get the art for them, or if you can. I don't know how that works. Like I said, I haven't tried adding anything to this, but I'm blown away with how many things are on here. I think it is definitely as packed to the gills as they say it is. So really excited to play more of this, see how it all runs, and then I will be doing a review down the road once I feel like I've tried enough stuff that I can really speak on it well. But let me know what you think of this. I mean, there's so many retro game systems out there on the market. I was shocked when I started looking into it how many there were, but you know, this one is really amazing to me. You know, I think maybe before we go, why don't we try to get into a game just so you can kind of see it going. Let me go to Dreamcast, because that was one of my favorite systems. And let's see. Why don't we try some Dead or Alive 2? This is a great fighting game series, so let's check it out. We got our cool Dreamcast startup logo here. And let's get right into it. I'm going to not worry too much about the... I have no achievements unlocked. I haven't done much on this game yet. So here we go. It is running. We'll go ahead and pick a story mode. And let's go ahead and do Kasumi, because I do like Kasumi. So let's check her out. And you can see how smoothly this runs. Here we go. I'm fighting Tina. One thing that does take a little bit of getting used to is just the different buttons necessary, because I'm not using a Dreamcast controller. I don't know if there's like a USB controller I can use on a computer that is similar to the Dreamcast in any way. There might be. Alright. Very good. So I don't know any of her moves anymore, but as you can tell, it runs absolutely beautifully. It looks gorgeous, and I couldn't be happier with this. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of this, though. I'm not trying to do a long play of this. And we're back to our menu screen, so that's it. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if there's any games you specifically want me to check out that might be on here, let me know, because I'm very into the idea of finding games that maybe I haven't tried before. So do let me know anything that you'd love to see, and if it's on here, or if I have a way to get it on here, I'll definitely check it out. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit like and subscribe, and click the little bell icon so you can know about the next time I put out a video. Otherwise, look forward to see you all around the table again at All Games New and Old. Bye. Hey, you made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like it, share it, and click this button to subscribe. If you like that one, you might also like this one.
Or this one.
I cannot believe what I did in that one. Holy cow.
I can.
Of course you can. All right. Anyway, we'll see you around the table.
Bye.
Bye.